One of the things that has held me most back, going after my health goals, after my fitness goals, and after ultimately all my life goals, was this feeling of being anxious and having anxiety. So I'm by nature kind of an anxious person. My parents always describe me as being an anxious kid, where I'm always like fiddling, plucking, wearing out the pant legs because I'm fiddling with them. But in today's video, I want to share with you personally, if you have anxiety, not clinical anxiety, which you should be seeing a doctor for, not taking my advice on, but if you feel anxious about life in general, and again, it's not in a medical sense, I want to share with you a few of the things that I have used personally to get over that kind of anxious anxiety feeling, whether it's around your weight and your body, but also going after those things you want in your life. What's up, guys? It is Alex Hine here, author of Master the Day. Now, when I was younger, I was definitely the kid that missed out on a lot of stuff. I played a lot of video games, I stayed at home, I didn't really go out, I didn't even go to prom, I've never even been in a limo in my life, and I'm 29. And a lot of that I attribute to kind of being an introvert, to being shy, to having anxiety, to not having the kind of confidence that I have now, where I can set any goal, go after it, and be pretty confident that I'll get there, even if it takes me a very long time. And when I was in college, for example, a great example of this was I was with a friend, and at that time, she and I kind of had similar introverted personalities. And the rock climbing, we had this awesome rock climbing gym where I went to school, and the guy there, the announcer, it was like a Tuesday rock climbing club, he said that whoever could climb this particular wall would get something free. And I knew she could do it. She was really good at rock climbing. I knew she could do it. It would be no problem. But because she was too anxious and afraid of it, she was a really big introvert like me, she didn't even try. And as soon as she started looking around and asking people, because nobody even volunteered, she just kind of, became invisible. And I thought about that because I was really angry at her for a long time after, like, you missed a golden opportunity to win something free. And I wonder how often that shows up in other aspects of her life. Not just the rock climbing, but it's a whole personality trait. It's an entire personality and persona surrounding this kind of anxiousness, this anxiety, if we want to call it that. Again, this is not clinical anxiety, but this anxious personality. She missed out on so much of life because of that. And on a more personal note for me, one of the biggest things that I missed out on that was really important to me as a younger guy was dating, right? I never had a girlfriend because I was too anxious. I didn't have the self-confidence. I didn't have the experience. I didn't have the belief in myself that I could do it. And just like any other goal, whether it's fitness or writing a book or traveling the world, if you're not confident and you don't think you can, you just won't even try. And so this kind of anxiety manifested itself in the sense that I would just say that I was okay being single, even though I wasn't, even though I wanted a girlfriend. But it was because I didn't have any guts, any cojones to actually do the things that I wanted. And so I missed out on that for a lot of years, from 16 to like almost my mid-20s. I missed out on something that I wanted, that I could have had, because my internal conception of myself, I was an anxious person, that was my identity, my self-identity. And honestly, you could see the same thing about every other thing I see and I hear people wanting to do. All the many thousands of people I've talked to that want to lose weight and get fit. All the people that want to write a book after I've told them I've written a book. And they have a book in them, but because of whatever anxious fear, anxiety they have around it, they don't do it. All of these things, really, the biggest thing, my second full-length book is coming out December 1st. And it's all about what to do with your 20s, right? And the thing I concluded after almost 300 pages, the most important thing in my own life was courage. It wasn't the strategy, the tactic, the coach. It wasn't reading books. It wasn't personal development. Courage. Because it's the courage to go after the thing you want to go after, but you're scared shitless and you don't go after it because of that. It's courage that closes the gap between where you are and your dream body, where you are and the great life you want, where you are, the book you want to write, where you are, the partner you want to have, all these things. It's courage. That would be the advice I would have given to my former self. So how do you actually build that? So coming back to this idea of how do you get over anxiety, just like this anxious feeling about life that's not clinical, not medical, how do you get over it? The first thing for me was that not being anxious comes from confidence. And confidence doesn't come just from affirmations or visualizations. It comes from time in the arena, direct, real experience. It's the difference between a doctor who's so good at what they do because they've treated tens of thousands of patients over 20 years and they know their stuff because they've been in the arena patients getting better, patients dying, and everything in between. And they know, if they're honest with themselves, they know they are good at what they do or they aren't, right? If they're being honest, that's what the doctor does because he or she knows from time in the arena. The arena is bloody, is ups and downs. It's the same as the author who's confident now because they've written books. They've seen a lot flop and a lot do well, and they know from experience. Now they can be confident. And it's the same for you, right? Obviously, if you're going after a weight loss goal or a life goal and it's always 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, you get on the scale, you've done everything right, and it goes up 2 pounds, and you're like, what the hell? I did everything right. Obviously, when you do that, you're not going to feel confident. And if you don't feel confident, you may be getting a little anxious and afraid, and you may not try because why invest effort if it's not going to work, right? So what I'm suggesting is that you have to build it, first of all, through wins in the arena, which means that whatever it is, whether it's anxiety around dating, around your weight, around something else in life, the second you feel that fear, you have to run to it as quickly as possible. Because those fears, they build, they spiral, they just keep increasing no matter what you do unless you run towards them and start acting. So my biggest advice to you, the person that asked the question about anxiety, is whatever the anxiety is, if it is about your weight, then maybe what it means is, yes, you are scared, but you have to keep plugging along. It just comes from time in the trenches. If you keep persisting, if you keep putting in the work, if you keep doing something, like the little habits every single day, you're eventually going to get results. And each result, I feel like, increases your confidence just 1%. Then each week, maybe another 1%. It seems like nothing in the short run, but if you look at it, after a year, that's 52%. That's a big increase from 1% to 52% just in 1 year. And you probably have 70 more years to live. So you can get pretty far on that spectrum. If it's the book you want to write, the person you want to ask out, some other life goal you want to go after, you have to run towards it as quickly as possible when you feel that fear and anxiety. I'm not saying just jump in the water when you don't know how to swim, but I'm saying start putting your toes in the water as quickly as possible. Because then you can always inch up into the pool or into the ocean. You can always inch in, but the way you're going to know that you're making progress is the speed you go from fear and anxiety to dipping the first toe in the water. Because the dipping the first toe is the scariest part. After that, it's just like you get into a pool, you dip your toe in, you're like, oh, it's a little cold, a little uncomfortable, and then a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And the difference then is not the person that jumps into the pool. The difference is in your own life. How quickly can you go from the things you think of that are scaring you to just dipping your toe in the water? All right. So the tiny habit takeaway for today is if you're feeling anxious about whatever it is in life, I don't know the context of the question, whether it's the weight, whether it's something else in your life, you have to dip your toe in as quickly as possible to move from your mind, anxiety is obviously of the mind and the body, and then bringing it into your body. Because then you're not going to be stuck in all this stuff in your head. You're going to be living in your body, which is a big concept in Chinese medicine, getting out of the head into the body. So I hope that helps. I hope that answered your question. Again, leave a comment right there below. For those of you watching, what is something that you're currently anxious about? I know this from being an anxious person kind of my whole life. Everything can become anxiety, but I want to know from you, what is something that has been leaving you anxious lately? Hey guys, it's Alex. Did you like this video? If so, there are really 2 ways you can stay in touch with me. The first thing is to go over, click the monk, and subscribe so you get the next video right when it's out. I'm releasing at least 3 videos per week, but often a lot more. The next thing is, come on over and check out my book, Master the Day. It's called Master the Day, Eat, Move, and Live Better with the Power of Daily Habits. And it's all about the tiny daily success habits that I learned interviewing people that lost over 100 pounds and kept it off years later in a healthy way. The success habits that not only get your dream body, but also your dream life. And as a special thank you, if you get the book, send me your receipt to alexander@modernhealthmonk.com. I'll send you a 1-hour bonus video course for free. And one important piece of it is an hour sit-down success story with my friend and my student Mike, who lost 30 pounds. So you can go check that out on Amazon right there. The next thing is, come on over to my site, modernhealthmonk.com. I've got a free guide for you there, 5 daily habits to help you lose your next 20 to 30 pounds. And otherwise, I look forward to seeing you soon.